Matt Gray is here on the Blaze Radio Network.
Thanks for being with us. 888-900-3393. Another jam-packed day full of stuff, full of death and destruction, and making the apocalypse fun. But along those lines, just making the apocalypse fun, we thought we'd start with something kind of fun. It's something that we were kicking around a few minutes ago.
Oh, no, we're going to start with it.
From Little League Baseball.
Yeah.
Can you play the Dust Devil thing? There's a lot here to just to put us in the proper frame of mind. Little League game, and is that a tornado? Oh, it's a little Dust Devil.
Look at that.
Okay, and the umpire comes and grabs the catcher and takes him to safety.
Wow.
What would have happened to him?
Yeah.
He would have gotten dust in his size? Is that what we're... Because he's being... I mean, that's cool that he did that.
Sure is, yeah.
But he's being hailed as a hero.
I know.
You saved my son's life!
Like,
did he? Was that Dust Devil going to carry the kid away to Kansas or something? I don't think so.
If you ever drive through the Texas Panhandle, you see those Dust Devils all over the
time.
Place. What's cool about this video is I've never seen one just start. You know?
I haven't either. That was weird.
That thing just started like right out of nowhere. It was just there.
Go back to the beginning again.
Yeah, we're going to have to walk through this thing because there, like you said,
there's a lot
there's so much going on here.
Here it comes.
Okay, boom.
All of a sudden, there it is.
Oh.
Why? How? Okay, you got that, and then you got the kid just standing there.
What is with that kid?
Dude, move.
No joke.
We need to get that kid tested? Is that what should happen here? Kid.
No kid.
There's a Dust Devil in front of you. Just take a few steps back.
Okay, so can you put that back up there, Joe? Just pause it for a second. All right, so there we go. We got the scoreboard up there. It's 7U.
Right.
So these are 6 and 7 year olds. If by the age 6, 7, if you don't know to move when you're in danger,
move. The batter knew enough to get out of the way.
Right. He's like, oh,
but
boy.
the catcher's like, arr.
Okay. So now let it keep playing. We don't need the audio here. Just let it keep playing. Now watch the umpire's hat, okay? So it
flies off.
Okay, now there's a third base coach who is so obsessed with getting this cap. Okay, we're gonna get it, bro. Just let's just
calm
hang
down.
on. We'll get to it.
Down.
Okay, now
I'm gonna save that hat if it's the last thing I do.
You know what? That kid is a hero for saving that little kid. I'm going to be a hero for saving the ump's hat. So, but if you listen to now can we just listen to the crowd while this plays? I've never seen anything like that. Yeah. Listen to this.
Need a rinse?
Need a rinse?
Y'all got some water?
Hold on. Now, hold on.
Okay, because somebody got dust in their eyes.
Yeah. But no, back it up a little bit. To your point, just play it again because you made the point of, you saved my kid's life. Like, somebody literally shouted that.
Yeah,
you saved his life.
Yeah, where was he going to be swept off to? The thing ended like half a second after he was taken to safety.
I love the drama. You saved his life. All right.
It's a fun video, and it's cool that the jumped in there and helped the kid. But
it wasn't like a...
Let's not get carried away.
It wasn't an EF4 tornado that we're dealing with there.
It wasn't life and death there. It was a matter of, does he get dust in his hair? Unfortunately, the umpire was there to say, no, not on my watch.
Not today, Dust Devil. Oh, my.
What is sad, though, is that this morning, I didn't send the video in, but there's another video of of one of the coaches at a different game.
Okay.
One of the coaches at these little league games attacks an umpire, throws him to the ground, starts beating on him.
What?
And there's a melee that erupts. I think they're like 10 or 12 years old. I mean, what kind of lesson are you trying to teach these kids?
No kidding.
Calm down.
Well, was it a bad call by the umpire?
You know what? They don't show the call.
Aha, see?
So that's a really good question.
You have in context.
I don't know. It might have been a bad call. And in that case, you're teaching them the right thing, right?
Yes.
If you don't like the call, attack the umpire physically.
Yes.
It's the only thing to do.
I haven't seen this video. I'm not familiar with the story you're talking about with the beatdown of the umpire there. But the thought has occurred to me as our society completely unravels.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching a baseball game, watching an argument between the batter and the umpire. I'm thinking, and I do not want this to happen ever, but we are so on the edge. I just fully expect at some point on some level an umpire to get attacked with a baseball bat by the batter.
I could see it happening.
Our society is so off its rocker.
Yeah.
That day's coming.
Sadly, it probably is. And worse, worse. It's fortunate nobody's, or did somebody bring a gun to one of these games at one point? Seems like a few months ago, there was a case of that too, where they brought a gun and started shooting and everybody scrambled. Have to look and see if we can find that, because, things are out of control.
Yeah.
They're just out of control. Everybody's nuts right now. And part of it, of course, due to the fact that we just have the best leadership on the planet.
The best leadership.
The best leadership.
That's why we're losing our minds, because they're the best.
And we're just not worthy of the leadership that we're being provided.
I see.
For instance, Joe Biden was out yesterday. Apparently, he sounded really good and is in perfect peak physical condition.
Yeah. Good time to travel.
The order came. Evacuate immediately. Justin surged through the smoke as fast as he could.
Okay, so
crawling through.
Oh no.
Excuse me.
Oh my gosh.
Oh wow.
Okay, so you think it's a rough start to the day. That was his first event of the day.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then there's another.
Was he still coughing later?
Yeah, there's a second event.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm about to take off in a few minutes. Here's a helicopter out there to Japan. Not the helicopter, but Andrews.
Okay.
Anyway, and to meet
he thinks he's being funny.
America.
Okay, so
you're going to take the helicopter? No, I'm not going to take it to Japan.
Yeah, that was fun too.
Yeah, that's fun.
Gonna take it. Well, not to Japan. Yeah, but he's going over to Asia, obviously, and he's sick. So good job traveling now.
Yeah.
Plus, never mind the debt ceiling, right?
Yeah, why worry about that?
Yeah.
It's interesting because I was reading an opinion piece about, it's about our leadership and the ambassador to Japan, who is Rahm Emanuel, and the way he is trying to manipulate Japan into being just like us as far as their social justice issues are concerned. Apparently, Washington believes that Japan's not nearly diverse enough, and they're not inclusive enough, and they're too discriminatory towards the LGBTQIA2+ community. So let me just read a little portion of this opinion piece from somebody calling themselves, I think, our guy in Tokyo or our guy in Japan.
So this isn't Rahm Emanuel?
No, this is about Rahm Emanuel.
Okay, gotcha.
Some audience members came up to me after a speech I gave in downtown Tokyo in late April. They were hopping mad at Rahm Emanuel, the man whom Washington sent a little over a year ago to do its business in Japan. And what does that business entail? If Emanuel's April tweets are any indication, it entails interfering in internal Japanese political matters, which is something we do extremely well. We're elite at interfering in everybody else's business.
2 centuries plus of that track record. Yep.
Over a series of tweets in late April, Ambassador Emanuel shared photos of himself and the American embassy staff heading out in full rainbow regalia, the new red, white, and blue, to join the Tokyo Rainbow Pride Parade, the usual celebration of civilization collapse, all in a day's work for our man in Tokyo. But it was this tweet that started the firestorm.
Uh-oh.
He tweeted out, "Now is the time, now is the moment for Japan to be all that Japan can be." You could feel the energy in the air at Tokyo, our pride. Today was a parade with purpose. Many in Japan were appalled, not just at the sentiment, of course, or at the tone deafness of a man who speaks zero Japanese, inserting himself into a national debate he knows nothing about. After all, we know that liberal Americans consider themselves culturally superior to the Japanese and everybody else on the planet, for that matter. That was the entire premise behind dismantling the Japanese Constitution and imposing a new one. Never mind that Japan's been a democratic country since the 19th century. The sheer cultural chauvinism of the American embassy is a daily occurrence. And it's not just the embassy in Tokyo that's so good at it. Everywhere you find an American diplomatic outpost, you'll find people who specialize in evangelizing for sodomy and the exportation of democracy via drone strike. Most Americans don't realize it, but overseas, the rainbow flag and the arms deal together have become the new national brand. No, what was appalling was that the American ambassador to Japan was not even pretending that the country he runs as a proconsul has a functioning democracy of its own or any sovereignty to speak of. Terahisa Sei, an extraordinarily thoughtful scholar and public intellectual who teaches political theory and political philosophy at Kyushu University, spoke truthfully when he called Ambassador Emmanuel's display Neisei Kansho, interference in internal governmental affairs. Emmanuel was just getting started. A couple of days after essentially tweeting policy orders to the Japanese government, he was back on Twitter. The Tokyo R Pride parade may be over, but the march towards equality continues. Now is the time. Great to see Marriage for All director Matsunaka Gon talk about how to move forward to a place where there is not gay marriage and straight marriage, but just marriage. So Rahm Emanuel is over there trying to direct Japanese policy into, being just exactly like we are, a carbon copy of us on LGBTQIA2+ matters. And they're trying to force the issue.
Exporting liberalism.
Yep.
Where it's not wanted.
Yep. And he goes on, it's a long article about how, the Japanese have been inclusive for a long time. They just do things differently than we do. They're not open about it necessarily, but he says that this Japanese expert says that they've got a lot of sexual things that go on. They just don't parade it everywhere. They're fine if you want to do whatever you want to do in the confines of your home, your bedroom, behind closed doors, whatever. But don't try to export this madness that is the United States to Japan. And, we're doing this all over the world. We're trying to impose our liberal will on everybody on every issue. That's what this administration is doing to the world. And you got to believe that when Biden is over there, he's going to be strong-arming them too. He and Emmanuel will probably team up on the Japanese prime minister to try to get them to pass this legislation about marriage. Just because we did a few years ago, they've got to do it too. Everybody's got to do exactly as we do and exactly as we say. When are we going to learn? When will we learn? Let them do their own thing. It's their nation. They're a sovereign nation with, 150 million people or whatever. They've been around a lot longer than we have as a nation. Let them do what they do. It's nuts. Yeah. It's nuts. So anyway, Biden is going to Japan, but is no longer going to go to Australia and some island Pacific nations like Papua New Guinea.
Papua New Guinea they were excited. They were like, yay.
He is going there or not?
No. They were ready for the first visit by a sitting president. Mm-hmm. Is that right? Yeah. And then, boom. Yeah. Sorry,
Oh, no.
I've been putting off this thing back home for 6 months, so got to get back and deal with that.
So, as a result, KJP was asked about these cancellations yesterday, as Biden is now coming back sooner to keep talking about the debt ceiling with Republicans.
Doesn't it make the president look like he's caving to Republican demands by making this last-second decision to cancel it after this criticism from Republicans had come up, instead of making a proactive decision to do it a few days ago, or just continuing on with the trip and telling Kevin McCarthy, call me with an update?
I mean, look, the speaker put us in this position, right? Let's not forget. He put us in a position where he is taking the American economy hostage.
Oh, okay. Right.
I'm so sick of this.
So tired of it.
Especially when you consider that the House has already passed a debt ceiling increase. The way they just lie
every day.
And I can't even call it spin.
Yeah, right.
It's not spin.
It's just flat out lies. Just flat out lies.
Can't.
And they act, and I keep seeing the word printed. as if it's unprecedented. What do you mean? This happens every time. The threat of this happens every time. So every 6 months we're going through this. There's nothing unprecedented about it. And if it was a Republican in office, the Democrats would be doing exactly the same thing, trying to make it difficult on the president. Because they've done it a million times.
Yeah. Do you remember when I sat here, I don't know, maybe it was a month ago, and I said, hey, I've seen estimates anywhere from early June to early October when we're going to hit the debt ceiling, right?
Yeah.
And then, we're going to default and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. Somewhere in that window of like 4 months or whatever. And then it was the next week that Janet Yellen came out and said, June 1st.
Yeah.
Like the earliest possible date in that little estimate window. Well, yesterday, Mick Mulvaney, former Biden chief of staff or whatever he was, he said, this feels a little political with that June 1st date.
You think?
What?
It feels a little political?
Yeah. So he's not even, former Biden administration officials I don't know that it's June freaking 1st, hard date. Full stop. Mm-hmm. So stop with this, doomsday stuff.
Oh, it's all they've got, though, because the Republicans are doing the right thing, and they're trying to at least, get something done, and so the administration has to still try to present them as the bad guy in this, because they're lying sacks.
Yeah, and how dare the Republicans even consider trying to cut back on spending.
Oh, yeah, how dare you. And they're not even cutting back on spending. They're cutting back on the increase in spending. Mm-hmm. You're just not increasing it by as much as the Democrats hoped. So how about if we just increase the spending by 1%? That's now a decrease.
But how poetic is it that we are having this discussion right now at the same time that we have just now passed the point where we are spending more as a nation on the interest of our debt than we are on national defense.
Jeez.
I mean,
unreal.
That says it all right there.
Well, when your debt is $32 trillion, that's going to add up to some pretty hefty interest at some point.
Yes, sir.
And this is the point. All right, let me tell you about real estate agents I trust. If you're about to sell your house or you're buying or you're doing both because you're relocating somewhere, take some of that stress off yourself and get a great realtor from Real Estate Agents I Trust. They're going to give you the kind of service that you really need and that you're looking for and that Glenn never got in Connecticut when he was trying to sell his home, which is why he started this company. And so they vet these agents, and there's great agents in virtually every town across the country. I think there's upwards of 1,500 of them nationwide now. But these are only the best in the business, the ones that you can really turn to, who know what they're talking about, know how to get your home sold for the most amount of money possible, or help you buy the most home for your money and make the really important decisions all along the way. You're looking for somebody who's going to be there with you every step of the way? That's Real Estate Agents I Trust. The name says it all. Go to realestateagentsitrust.com. That's realestateagentsitrust.com.
This is Pat Gray Unleashed.
So, Kevin McCarthy, Speaker of the House, getting pretty frustrated now with the president because we've got that early June deadline now with the ceiling, with the debt limit, which isn't a ceiling at all, and everybody knows it. And, of course, because we won't pass a budget, we have this going on every 6 months or a year. But here's what McCarthy had to say.
He actually spent $500 billion more than he projected he was going to spend. He added $6 trillion, the Democrats, that brought us inflation that harmed every single American. That we now have 3 of the 4 largest bank failures in the last couple months. So yeah, their fiscal policy and monetary policy has failed in America. I'm not asking to change all that. I'm just saying let's spend less than we spent last year. Let's find places we can grow, and let's find places we can save. And I had to argue.
It's crazy talk.
If we had not passed the bill, do you think we'd even be in the room discussing this? That shouldn't be the way government works. Two sides should be able to sit down and talk, even if they have differences, and find common ground. Every family does it, every business does it, and the American government should do it as well. And that's all I'm asking, and it's all we have been asking for the last 104 days. Now we have an opportunity, but we only have a few days to get the job done. And I'm going to spend all my effort to make sure we get the job done.
Okay. Completely unreasonable.
Doesn't it sound?
I mean, what a kook.
Yeah. One of the things that Biden said.
Job.
Yeah. One thing that Joe Biden said yesterday in between coughs was that that the Republicans won't even consider an increase in the revenue stream. In other words, the bumbling old Marxist wants tax increases.
Of course. That's the way they get revenue streams.
Thankfully, the GOP is saying,
no.
Okay, no, not happening. You better stick to that, too. You better stick to that GOP.
I know. I have no confidence that they will, but let's keep our fingers crossed.
How would you feel about, how much money could we save if we just closed every military base around the world?
No, man. Billions.
Yeah, I mean.
No doubt, billions.
I think we can find some common ground here. Oh, no, that's right. No, that's right. The Democrats are now the war hawks, and they want to go and fight off wars and stuff now, so we missed that chance.
Well, let's take a look at the debt here via a graph.
This chart.
That is staggering.
It is staggering. And, Patrick, that chart stops at 2020.
Oh, wow.
It's actually much higher than that.
I mean, like 10 trillion higher, right?
Because that's right there is at 23 plus.
Okay,
right, 23.
So,
what are we now?
About
32?
9 trillion shy of where we actually are.
So let's see
Wow.
here. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure it out here. 6. Yeah, you can. My gosh, you take from the word flatten right there. But go from the word flatten up to the top of that red and add that, and that's where the chart is actually right now. It's absolutely insane. We are not a serious country. We're not a serious country. And that's just our government. Listen to this. I saw this news flash. Consumers added $148 billion worth of debt just in the first 3 months of this year alone. That's lifting total consumer debt to just over $17 trillion, a fresh record high. So the government's in debt. We're in debt.
Individuals are in debt.
It's absolutely. And it is just, we are at the brink here, man. This sucks. I'm going to sum it up in a very technical sense. It sucks.
Americans are going to be sorry when the chickens come home to roost. Because it's going to be ugly. It is going to be ugly. McCarthy also had a message for Adam Schiff yesterday in light of the recent Durham report being released.
A number of things. We're asking Durham to come in and testify so we can look at it more. It really raises the question about Adam Schiff. You remember when he told the American people he had proof?
I do.
Remember when he told them he didn't know the whistleblower?
Yeah.
And what he put America through and openly lied to us, and now it's proven in this as well? It raises a lot of questions about his character, his standing inside of Congress, or whether he should even be in Congress.
Ooh. Doesn't it, though? Doesn't it? Thank you for noticing, Kevin. That's great. He's been doing a pretty good job. And, I guess his feet were held to the fire when, he had to run. But he's actually following through now with some of those promises.
Yep. I hope this actually goes somewhere, because we had ourselves a little resolution introduced yesterday.
Okay.
You see that thing right there? Look at that.
Yeah. So Representative Anna Paulina Luna introduced a resolution to have Adam Schiff expelled from the House.
Yeah.
Okay. The resolution reads, pursuant to Article 1, Section 5, Clause 2 of the Constitution of the United States, Representative Adam Schiff, and he hereby is expelled from the House of Representatives.
I like it.
That's the resolution. I love that.
That's pretty simple, right?
Pretty simple.
I'm just looking here at what was it? Article 1, Section 5.
Let me see. Just Article 1, Section 5, Clause 2.
Clause 2.
Yeah.
This doesn't have listed in clauses.
Oh, okay.
But I think it's Each house may determine the rules of its... No, that's not... I don't know. But,
it's about impeachment, maybe?
Yeah, let's go. Let's do this. The problem is the Democrats are pushing the Republicans into getting rid of George Santos. Because he's been indicted on charges of wire fraud, money laundering, taking campaign contribute, whatever. So you don't want to do that trade, though.
No.
Because you're going to have the Democrat governor of New York, right? That would replace Santos.
Kathy Hochul.
Yeah. So apparently the margins, obviously, we know are so razor thin in the House.
Yeah.
That in order to get anything done, George Santos, you got to stick around. I mean, it's such a game in D.C. My gosh, politics everywhere. So I don't know what's going to happen with either of those two gentlemen, but it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out.
Also, as far as the Durham report is concerned, there was an interesting story written about one of the things that's not being talked about enough from that report, and that is that the hearts and minds of the FBI and the DOJ have been completely corrupted.
Yes.
That's a frightening observation. It's maybe the biggest conclusion that John Durham reached in the report. 306-page report opened with the executive summary, capsulizing the results of his 4-year investigation, while calling the findings sobering and previewing the widespread misconduct on which the body of the report elaborated. Durham's introductory comments emphasized that he, quote, does not recommend any wholesale changes in the guidelines and policies, because what he said was, we already have the rules in place to stop this kind of stuff. They just don't abide by them. The answer, this is the quote, the answer is not the creation of new rules, but a renewed fidelity to the old. Exactly. Ultimately, he said, justice comes down to the integrity of the people who take an oath to follow the guidelines, and the promulgation of additional rules and regulations to be learned in yet more training sessions would likely prove to be a fruitless exercise if the FBI's guiding principles of fidelity, bravery, and integrity are not ingrained in the hearts and minds of those sworn to meet the FBI's mission. It's exactly right. And that's the problem now, is because they just don't care about their own rules. They're too political an organization. You're going to really have to gut that agency in order to fix it. Yeah. And there's no intention, and there's probably no will to do that among most Republicans.
No,
so,
a nation that has lost trust and has lost faith in those sworn to protect it, I don't know how you exist, and I don't know why Hillary Clinton isn't behind bars. After she paid to have Trump Tower's servers hacked to make it look like he had this connection with Russia. I mean, how the hell is she not behind bars right this second?
I don't know. And how is Schiff still in office when he lied to the American people every single day, saying he had evidence of the collusion? He had evidence. And then it turns out 4 years later, nope, he didn't. He didn't have a shred of evidence. So what were you talking about all those times?
Did you see there was a law professor who said, hey, if you got that evidence, Adam, now's as good a time as any. Let's go.
Right.
Let's have
Let's
it. Just
see it.
Lay it out. What did the Durham report get wrong? Show us all this stuff that you bragged about for 4 years. And if you go back and obviously I give Donald Trump a bunch of crap for the last year of his presidency. It's a great presidency. It was 4 years. 3 of them were great. One of them with the pandemic and the overreach and too much power ceded to Fauci and Birx, whatever. That man had more crap going on for he had the mole in there, who I think was Rance Priebus. Then he has 4 years of this insanity. He gets impeached twice over nothing at all. It's amazing the stuff that he actually did get done, considering
he was under fire the whole time.
What was happening from both sides.
Yeah.
He had the Republican Senate that's why Obamacare isn't dead, because of John McCain's one vote. The border wall was never built because the GOP only likes the border being closed when the Democrats have power.
There's just no will.
So he did quite a bit, considering the circumstances, though.
So now you know why we started with the Dust Devil this morning. Jeez.
Pat Gray Unleashed.
Let's get to some of your tweets here. Carl Smith tweets, where was the no hats were harmed in the making of this Dust Devil video caption?
Yeah, well, that was harrowing for that hat. It's a good thing that coach stepped in when he did.
That's scary.
Never mind the little kid at
Scary.
home.
That hat could have been swept all the way down to third base. You don't know. You just don't know. Sarcastic Mr. Sean, my Little League umpires were drunks. The plate umpire tucked a flask in his chest plate.
All right.
It was the 70s. My, how times have changed.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Well, can we stop for just one moment? Because a couple nights ago, when the Twins and Dodgers, I think, were playing, the calls were so bad on this pitch sequence. The umpire was calling strikes off the plate that way, off the plate this way, to the point where the Dodgers radio announcers or home team announcers were like, what? Like, it was strike 3 was called against the Twins, but even the Dodgers announcer was like, that's impossible. It's so bad. So my question for you is, where do you stand, because they're experimenting in minor leagues with robotic umpires?
Yeah, that's hard. I mean, if they had it perfected and you could do it really quickly, maybe.
I mean, because the human umpires aren't perfected, and they're terrible.
No.
You got
I mean,
Angel Hernandez.
It is hard. That's a tough one. Because how much extra time would it take?
Well, I think it's instant.
Really?
Yeah. I think because the little bit that I've seen, it's pretty quick, And I think one time it got it really wrong. I forgot what it was. Very similar to how a human umpire would get it, But I don't know. I just with AI and with
it's probably inevitable.
Yeah.
We're gonna go that direction. Joe Cool Snoopy tweets, I can't take any more lies from KJP. It gets me so angry. Anna for really tweets, the U.S. with its wide open borders has no respect for its own sovereignty. Why would we expect our leaders to have respect for Japan's or any other country for that matter? True. Very true. Yesterday, Joe Biden was giving out awards at the White House for first responders. Check this out. He inadvertently skips a lady and then goes back, and apparently she's less than impressed with him.
This is fun stuff. So look at this here. All right. Yep. Okay. So she's just rolling her eyes. Like,
go over here.
Yeah.
And wait.
So play that again, because I don't know. Like there's a. Go ahead and play this again. Let's see here. Yeah. Okay. So this video doesn't show where
he walked by her the first time.
Yeah, because
she's a little disgusted.
He had moved on to the dude, and then went back. She's just rolling her eyes. Good stuff.
It was a tough day for him. He also told us who his boss is.
And I also want to thank my buddy Kamala, who I work for up in the White House.
Who you work for
leading on this issue.
Up in the White House. There's been a number of times when he has called her the president. He just said he works for her. He can't quite pronounce her name properly. Is it Kamala now instead of Kamala?
Boy, I don't know.
Crazy.
Don't try to think too hard trying to figure this guy out.
That's very true. And speaking of her, yesterday she was nonsensical as usual, lying about Republicans again.
And most recently, they even want to eliminate classes that teach, quote, gender ideology.
So?
Well, so what are we talking about here? Classes that teach women's history? Women's equality?
No.
Yeah, we're going to ban women's history and women's equality. I don't know.
And she knows full well that's not what we're talking about here.
And if anybody's trying to eliminate women, Exhibit A is this administration.
Yeah. And she knows that there's a big difference between teaching about women's history, which I don't know why you would separate it into categories like that. It's just American history or it's world history. Do you need to separate it and categorize it by gender? What's being done is that they don't want to talk about gender fluidity and start indoctrinating kids with that leftist ideology.
Yeah.
And she knows that.
It's completely conflating it on purpose, as they always do.
Right. And, of course, more about green energy. Here's what she had to say about that.
We have entrepreneurs, small business owners who are working in the area of space, technology, addressing the climate crisis and understanding the opportunities that exist there in terms of growing a clean energy economy and growing a workforce that has the skills and the ability to lead where we can be, unburdened by where we have been.
Okay.
Oh, man.
All right. So that last line she said, unburdened by where we've been. I don't know that you're going to want to play this entire thing. I'm going to go on record. Pat, close your ears for a second. Pat's not going to make it through this montage. She apparently really likes that phrase.
Has she said it more than once?
She said it a couple times, Pat.
Okay.
I can imagine what can be and be unburdened by what has been. You know? What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be
Right.
unburdened by what has been. What can
But she likes
be
it.
unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened
by what has been. What we can see, what we believe can be, unburdened by what has been. What can be.
Unburdened by what has been.
What can be.
Unburdened by what has been.
Good. How do you know this?
Unburdened by what has
guess.
been.
Who we can be.
Did you see the speech notes?
No, but I just,
What can be.
I'm almost psychic. I'm like
Unburdened
Kreskin.
by what has been. Where we can be.
Where we can be,
By where we have been, and unburdened by where we are right now. What can be.
Oh, she mixed it up.
Unburdened by what has been. What can be. Unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What could be unburdened by what had been.
What can be
had been.
unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
Unburdened by what has been, believing in what can be.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be.
These are not repeated if you're listening.
What has been.
What can be.
These are all
unburdened
different
by
speeches.
what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been. What could be unburdened by what had been. What can be
He keeps messing it up.
Astonishing.
unburdened
By
what has
what
been.
has
What
been.
can be
Unburdened?
unburdened by
Okay.
what has been. What can be.
But are you going to be burdened by
unburdened
double
by what
mask?
has
No, oh,
been.
she's not.
Can
Okay.
be unburdened
That was a rare
by
double
what
mask
has
there.
been.
Yeah.
What can be
Yeah, unburdened by, yeah, we got
unburdened
it.
by what?
Should be.
What should?
unburdened by what has been. What
Nice
can
little
be
twist.
unburdened
Nice
by what
twist.
has been. What can be
I wonder if she ad-libbed
unburdened
that.
by what has been. See what can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be
Wouldn't you be embarrassed
unburdened by what has
to say
been.
this
What
These people
can
have no
be
100 times?
unburdened by what has been. Unburdened by what has been, and knowing what can be.
The piano
Have a
is
sense of
perfect.
It is great.
About
You
what
gonna
can
make it?
be unburdened by
Trying.
what has
This
been.
goes on
See
till,
what
Because
can
it's
be
astounding,
I
really.
think it's going to wrap up on July 13th.
unburdened by what has been. What can
What
be
can be
unburdened
unburdened
by what has been.
Did you write this for her?
Unburdened
How do you know
by
what she's going to
has
say, bro?
Can be
Again, man, I've got this
unburdened
sixth
by what has
sense.
been.
What can be
I see dead people
unburdened by what
and
has
hear,
been.
What
you know,
can be
phrases
unburdened
that
by
people
what has been.
might
What
use.
can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be
Uh-huh.
unburdened by what has been.
Put
That
a
can
fresh
be
spin on it. Go ahead.
Let's see.
Unburdened by what has been.
I think the
There are
pauses
those
were the
who
fresh spin
are
there.
unable to see what can be.
Oh, what
It's
can
the
be?
same gesture every time.
But there are many
Same
more
gestures.
who are able to see what can be unburdened by,
by
what has been.
Oh, that was a little different because she didn't use her left arm that
Yeah, she
time.
pulled. Yeah.
So
Good catch, Pat.
yeah.
So,
Huh.
that's good, right?
Oh my God.
You know how she's changed staff so frequently?
Uh-huh.
She's the problem here. That she's the common denominator in A, losing staff, and B, that speech. Because it's not like the same person has been writing the speeches for her, right?
Yeah, right.
She keeps
Right. She
shoving them
loves
all
the
out.
line.
That template, she's like, whatever you do when you write that speech, you better leave that line in there.
Yeah.
That's the only
Make
rule.
sure what can be unburdened by what has been is part of this speech.
It's got to be at least twice in that speech, or you're fired. And maybe that's what's happened. She's gotten rid of people that took it out of the speech.
Oh, wow. I mean, dozens and dozens of times, if not hundreds. She and Joe are similar in that way. Joe does the same thing with Don't Jump.
That is seriously her Don't Jump.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So this is why this administration, these two are being challenged within their own party for a presidential primary run. Well, yesterday, their opponent, who's actually doing pretty well.
Yeah, 1 point back, right? And one poll.
RFK Jr. Yesterday was giving an interview, and he's still all about climate change.
Absolutely still a big climate change guy, 100%.
But he is warning that elites could use climate change as another excuse, like COVID was and is, to institute more lockdowns. Here's what he had to say.
In my campaign, I'm not going to be talking a lot about climate. Why is that? Because climate has become a crisis like COVID that the Davos group and other totalitarian elements in our society have used as a pretext for clamping down totalitarian controls. The solutions, which are to get everybody to sign treaties and then have unenforceable milestones that they have to meet that nobody can enforce, that everybody can lie about, and that become an excuse for clamping down totalitarian controls on people, are things that are going to get a lot of pushback. If you talk to people about pollution, and let's switch to something that's more efficient, that's going to provide jobs, that's going to give us a new industry and economic growth, that's something that I think, we can unite people on rather than divide them for fear.
That man's going to get a lot of independence if he is the nominee. I'll tell you. This is, I mean, how many months we got? About 16 months here?
Ish.
He's going to be so wild on both sides, man.
He's already doing way better than I thought he'd do in polls. I mean, he's been up to 21% in most polls. And then this latest one, I think it was a Rasmussen poll this week.
Yes.
Where it showed Biden up by 1 point, 36-35.
Correct.
Wow.
And so, yes, he is making a lot of headway, especially this early. But take a step back. It's any competent Democrat should be able to beat Joe.
Should be, but that's not the case.
I know, but in a normal world, right?
Yeah.
Then this dementia-riddled Marxist, this corrupt pedophile that 81 million votes strong, right?
Most in history.
Anybody should be able to say, "Oh yeah, I can
take this guy. I can take him."
Yeah. But anyway, read the polls, Jack. Exactly.
That's what we're doing.
It's going to be interesting,
Jack. In the meantime, the left has no intention of ever locking down the border. I mean, they'll lock down society. We'll go ahead and just shut everything down, close businesses, make it mandatory to stay home, tell you that if you go out, you'll be arrested. But then, on the other hand, they'll leave the border wide open and allow millions of people to come in, and we don't know anything about them. We don't know if they're disease-riddled or not. And they don't care, frankly. Debbie Wasserman Schultz, of course, of Florida, was discussing yesterday why she's mad at Governor Ron DeSantis and his push to crack down on illegals working illegally in the state of Florida.
When Arizona did the same to their immigrants in their state, he's going to devastate our economy.
Really?
Tourism, construction, agriculture. I mean, you're going to have vegetables rotting in the fields. You're going to have construction sites that will lie dormant, or certainly will struggle to get workers to be able to help make sure that they can make progress. The tourism and restaurant industry in particular, rely on these workers.
Oh my gosh!
Have vegetables rotting in the field.
The only thing she didn't mention was who's going to clean our toilets in Florida.
Seriously.
Who's going to clean the toilets? If illegals aren't allowed in,
it's the same sentiment there.
You might have to clean your own.
Who was that? That was Sharon Osbourne, right?
Was it?
Yeah, or was somebody on The View?
Yeah.
Somebody on The View said that.
I mean, they all feel that way. How many of them have made that point lately?
Yeah, hang on. I don't want to throw her under the bus if that's not
Who's
right.
going to do the dirty work in this country if we don't allow illegals in?
Kelly Osbourne. So her daughter.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, she's not the first Democrat to step in it. They've been doing this over and over and over and over and over. Here's recent comments from Democrats.
Yeah, put some of these headlines up here. Look, there's Pelosi's quote.
Okay, we have
a shortage.
We have a shortage of workers in our country. In Florida, some of the farmers and the growers are saying, "Why are you shipping these immigrants up north? We need them to pick the crops down here."
What else we got, Joe? Let's see. Hank Johnson.
Okay, Hank. Those folks coming across the border are the ones who are helping us put food on our table. Without them, we're not able to eat. We would have from Mexico. Okay. We would have nobody taking care of the construction of our homes.
Oh, there it is. See?
Nobody cleaning up in the hospitals.
All right. Who else we got? What's next?
You gotta be kidding
Tom
me.
Malinowski, Democrat representative from New Jersey.
Illegal aliens are needed in the U.S. to mow our beautiful lawns.
There you go. All four of those.
How do they get
Democrats.
away with it? How? Oh, my God.
I mean, there's power in the D, baby.
Really, really true.
In Delaware, the largest growth in population is Indian Americans moving from India. You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent. I'm not joking.
He's not joking.
I'm not joking.
He's being seriously racist here. I'm not kidding about my racism. I actually feel that way. They're in the convenience stores, obviously. Convenience store clerks. They're mowing our lawns. They're cleaning our toilets. We need them. We need them.
Or else the crops are going to rot in the fields, as Debbie Wasserman Schultz told us.
What does she do now? She's a congressman. Then she was the head of the DNC.
I'm so glad you asked that, because when I saw that come up on social media yesterday, I thought, is she still in Congress? Because you never hear about her.
No,
and
she's not. She is?
Yeah, she's still.
She is in Congress?
She's still in Congress. So I don't understand her career path.
I
Congress,
don't either.
head of the DNC, Congress. I don't know. Whatever, but she's in Congress currently. Yeah.
Great. More Pat Gray Unleashed coming up.
Pat Gray is here on the Blaze Radio Network.
Thanks for being with us. A few tweets. Quiet Storm tweets, if Santos was a Democrat, he'd be promoted. Look at the career they've given Biden. Yeah, another liar about who he is, where he's been, his background. I mean, if you were to follow everything that Biden has said.
I may be Irish, but I'm not stupid. I married Dominic Giacoppa's daughter, so I got a little Italian in me now.
But everyone in town was either Polish or Italian. I grew up feeling self-conscious. My name didn't end in an SKI.
And for the Senate seat when I was 29 years old, it was because started calling me Joe Bidenopoulos.
Sure.
Because, you think I'm kidding? I'm not.
I just have
don't.
one thing to say.
Okay.
All right.
Little Hispandering there.
I was sort of raised in the Puerto Rican community at home politically.
And
so we. I got raised in the black church. He knows I'm not kidding. I got my education for real
in the
black church.
In the black church.
And that's not hyperbole. It's a fact.
No, it's a fact.
I probably went to shul more than many of you did.
Yeah. All right. Good stuff. But let's persecute and prosecute Santos, because what a liar. Proud Mr. Graybeard tweets, not only Adam Schiff, but every person that testified in the affirmative about the evidence of collusion lied to Congress.
Yeah. By the way, last night, Adam Schiff tweeted out that he commented on, a MAGA Republican member of Congress just filed a motion to expel me from the U.S. House of Representatives. I stood up to Donald Trump and held extreme MAGA forces accountable. Now they want payback.
Oh, my God.
They'll go after anyone who defends the rule of law.
Oh, man.
How long's our delay again?
Yeah, probably not long enough for the string of words that need to be said here. Anthony Osh tweets, what can be unburdened by what has been? What does that even mean? Does that mean she disagrees with reparations? Oh, no. No, that can't be. Professor Friday, okay, I give up. What can be unburdened by what has been? When will they tell us? Toothpaste Words tweets, but is Kamala unburdened by the passage of time and Venn diagrams?
Yes. Man.
Essential Joe, who finishes first, Lee Greenwood or Kamala Harris? It'll be a tight finish. There's no way to tell on that. It's like the metric system. There's no way to tell. This is interesting. They are now saying that there was a second gunman in the killing of John Lennon. So the second gunman, not Mark David Chapman, may be the person who shot and killed John Lennon. Weird. Have you ever heard that before?
I have not. Not until this article.
Might be innocent of the murder. I don't know that he's ever claimed his innocence, has he? But according to a British author and TV producer who said his upcoming documentary and book outline how a second shooter might have killed the iconic singer. Chapman may have been brainwashed by the CIA to serve as a patsy.
There we go. Now I'm listening.
According to David Whelan, who spent 3 years investigating what he called astonishing inconsistencies in the official narrative of Lennon's slaying in 1980. I mean, it's been 43 years, and we're just hearing this now. Whelan, whose book, Give Me Some Truth, The Assassination of John Lennon, and a documentary will be released later this year. He told the Post he believes the official narrative that Lennon was shot from behind by Chapman is untrue, and that a more professionally trained gunman shot him from the front into his chest. Wow. As part of his research, Whelan spoke to the surgeon, Dr. David Halloran, and 2 nurses, Barbara Kemmerer and Dia Sato, who tried to save the dying Lennon at the former Roosevelt Hospital, and to lead detectives who handled the case. He also poured through reams of police and medical records. I mean, this is amazing to find this out 43 years later. Now, Yoko was there. You would think she would know, right? If it wasn't Chapman. Chapman, 67 now, described as an obsessed fan with mental problems, shot the former Beatle with a .38 revolver. He pleaded guilty to the murder after his lawyers briefly considered insanity defense, and is serving 20 years to life at Greenhaven Correctional Facility in upstate New York. He's been denied parole 12 times. Whelan said the official narrative says Lennon was shot from behind, but his interviews and research with the surgeon and nurses, among others, indicated that Lennon was actually shot by somebody in front of him. In addition, Whelan said it was dark that night, and Chapman was reportedly about 25 feet from Lennon when he fired, a vast distance for an untrained marksman. Yet the bullets entered Lennon in a close grouping that looked professional.
Oh, boy.
How weird.
Very weird.
Dr. Whelan said that not even a Navy SEAL could pull it off from that distance. Whelan said he discovered that Chapman had a long history associating with charismatic Southern Christian preachers who had ties to former President Nixon, as well as to psychiatrists with links to military intelligence.
Wait, what?
As well as psychiatrists with links to military intelligence.
I mean, all of us do.
Right, who doesn't have links, with psychiatrists to military intelligence?
Right.
It's on record that 4 psychiatrists known for their forensic psychiatry and skill in hypnosis, including one expert in the CIA's notorious mind control program, MKUltra, visited Chapman's prison cell within a month of his arrest for Lennon's murder. Among them was former CIA consultant Milton Klein, New York psychologist and expert hypnotist, who once said he could create a patsy in 3 months, but it would take 6 months to make someone an assassin.
I love this, and I hate it at the same time.
Really fascinating.
Yeah. Should we get this author on for one of our Conspiracy Fridays?
Yeah, we probably should. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was doing some more research after I read this article, and I found this account of 2 police officers that were among the first on the scene who described
with Lennon.
And described Mark David Chapman as they used the word he appeared programmed.
Oh.
I got to get more information on this. And then this article this separate one from this also said that okay, we should probably just save this for the interview, but the CIA apparently would I guess, how do you say this, reap the benefits of rock stars, kind of, I guess, separating generations, dividing people. I don't know how it was worded there. But again, this is just this article. I've already closed the tab and everything. But basically it said that once they were done getting what they needed out of stars like Lennon, once they became more, I guess, enlightened, what have you, I don't know, they served their purpose. And so it talked about how Jimi Hendrix, Kurt Cobain, Tupac Shakur, I mean, the list went on of people that
the CIA's involved with?
They suspect, again,
oh my God.
I don't know. I barely even read this thing, but I thought,
is there an assassination the CIA has not been responsible for?
That actually isn't a bad question.
Uh-huh.
That actually is not a bad question, sir. And that is not a flippant response to the CIA that we know and love.
I mean, that's nuts.
What do you believe anymore?
I don't know. Yeah,
honestly.
that's the thing. That you would even consider it.
Yes.
It's crazy town. And yet, you can't help but consider it.
I swear, I don't know what to believe
When we
anymore.
get to the other side, it's going to be fascinating to find out, all the things that really went on that we didn't know about.
I've thought of that. I don't think we're ever going to know, because if there's no sorrow on the other side, like the good side, right? Then you can't know this stuff, because you'll be like, oh man, that sucks. So we were talking about the Conspiracy Friday. So the last Friday of every month, we started off with a bang with the moon landing. The moon landing.
faked.
Yep. And so this Friday, so a week from tomorrow, we've got an individual on to talk us through how Oklahoma City is not what we think it is.
Okay.
And so you think it'd be cool to have this guy on as well, this book author about the Lennon thing?
Yeah.
Cool.
Definitely.
All right. Very good.
Because that is the first I'm hearing about
me too.
Anybody other than Mark David Chapman being responsible for John Lennon's death. That's just really weird.
Now, MK Ultra, though, if this author can speak to MK Ultra, that's what I would love to hear. If he's not going down that road, then we're gonna have to do another show on MK Ultra, because that's gonna take. We're gonna have to. That overtime that day is probably gonna be about 7 hours long. Okay.
All right. Plus, there was a meteorite that just landed in Japan. Gosh, we've had a lot of Japanese stories today. And a camera caught it happening near a mountain in Japan.
That's cool. Yeah.
Is this Fuji? Mount Fuji?
No, it's Mount. I don't even know.
Some other mountain.
Yeah. Can we play that video there and see that? Watch this. Woo! That's cool.
Wow.
That's cool.
Huh. Okay.
Play that again, would you, Joe? I'd like to see that again.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Watch this.
And boom.
Now, I'm sorry to do this, but I do have a question. It's
CIA responsible for that meteorite?
Maybe. Maybe, because play it one more time and look on the other side of the mountain. What's shooting up? What's going on the right? Is that just a glare from the other? No, right?
Oh, that was weird.
Right?
Yeah, I didn't notice that before. Play that again.
Are we trying to shoot it out of the sky and we just missed terribly? What is that?
Strange.
Play that, Joe. Yeah. Okay, let's see.
Yeah, something definitely
right
on the right.
That's
you
not like
clearly see that. Look at that.
So what is that, Pat?
I don't know. Huh.
It's just so perfectly
and it's not shot at the meteorite.
No, and it's going the wrong direction, right?
Yeah. Very weird.
I don't like it. When I can't explain it,
we'd probably be told, yeah, that's a reflection. On what? Is there a mirror up there?
It's a weather balloon.
Okay.
It's a weather balloon.
Jeez.
I just thought that. So it's a cool video by its own right.
Yeah.
It's a curious video when
Sure
you look
is.
to the right.
Sure is. Also, we've got a rare 4.5 billion year old meteorite that crashed into a New Jersey home. That's incredible. Scientists believe this came from outer space. The Hopewell Township Police Department said in a press release, the metallic object penetrated the roof of a home on Old Washington Crossing, Pennington Road. It then came through the ceiling of the house and impacted the hardwood floor before it came to a rest. And there it is.
Oh, my.
How'd you like that to crash through your roof?
Wow.
So they've already carbon dated it to 4.5 billion years ago.
How did they get that so fast?
I don't know.
So how old is the thing?
4.5 billion years.
I mean, that's depressing. Think about that. You've been traveling for 4.5 billion years, and your
And
journey...
you wind up in New Jersey.
That's where your journey ends? Oh, man. I'm going back to space, bro.
Police said, although the home was occupied at the time, nobody was injured. Well, that's good. The New Jersey family that owned the house told the AP that they discovered the metallic rock in the corner of one of their upstairs bedrooms around 12:30 p.m., and it was still warm.
Boy.
Susie Kopp told the outlet that they thought that someone had thrown a rock into their home. That theory was later proven wrong after hazmat officials responded to the incident and checked her family for exposure to radioactive material. And that turned up negative. So it wasn't radioactive.
Oh, that's kind of a letdown.
Yeah, kind of.
Right?
Yeah. Probably not for the family. They're probably fairly relieved, but for us, a letdown.
We have this concern of things from space being, radioactive or contaminated or bringing some virus from a distant land. What is that? Like, is there any basis to that? Like, has something happened in the past where we've brought back something, and so now every time something from outer space lands here, or we go to we don't go to the moon anymore, or
ever did.
Like, what is this concern? You know what I mean? What's it built on? Just the unknown?
I don't know. I guess so. And speaking of the moon hoax, why? I mean, can we not still get there? Is that why we keep pushing the... do we still not have the technology to get to the moon? Is that why? Are we going to fake it again?
No. Oh, no, don't.
Because we've got better technology for the fake now than we did in 1969. That's for sure.
For the fake. Yeah. So, like, let's just say we've never gone. And we want to... like you said... It's probably the CGI capabilities.
Oh, way better
we
now.
We could
way
totally sell this thing now.
You bet we could. Why haven't they done that?
Right.
I mean, you should have done that a long time ago when this technology existed, like 2002. All right, we went to the moon. We're going to the moon. We just did it. Look at this. Here's the proof. You could do that easily. Speaking of space items, Uranus has suffered a pounding so hard that it got titled.
Titled? Tilted?
Tilted, I mean.
Tilted?
Yeah, titled. It got tilted.
Yeah, it's been titled. Yeah, it's been...
Well, the title is Uranus. And it suffered I mean, that's a headline. Uranus has suffered a pounding so hard that it got tilted. See, it's spelled in the headline. Titled. Titled.
Oh my gosh, what is up with that?
I don't know.
Every day.
Every day.
It's never in the headline, though.
Yeah, I know. Right? You can't just fix switch the L and the T around a little bit. So stupid people like me don't misread it. Actually, I read it correctly.
Yeah.
You misprinted it.
Wait, I didn't misprint. No, wait a minute. Who's the news source on this? They're the ones at fault.
Physicsastronomy.com. A team of researchers has discovered that Uranus was subject to a colossal pounding by an object twice the size of Earth. Wow. The seventh planet from the sun, Uranus, has long been an enigma for astronomers and scientists alike. With its unusual tilt and peculiar characteristics, this gas giant has received countless questions about its formation and history.
I want to. Can I vindicate you for a second here?
Yeah.
All right. Here is physics-astronomy.com /Uranus/-pounding-hard. It sure is. They haven't even fixed it yet.
There it is.
It still says
titled.
Titled. It got titled.
Dumb.
Golly, bro.
Man.
So
how do you slam into a gas giant?
I don't know how that works.
It's gas. How does it hit so hard that it tilts? Weird.
Or titles.
Or titles. Scientists have hypothesized that Uranus experienced a massive impact, possibly with an object twice the size of Earth, which led to its extreme axial tilting of 98 degrees. This colossal pounding would have significantly altered the planet's rotation, causing it to spin on its side. Such a violent event would have had lasting effects on the planet's atmosphere, internal structure, and even its magnetic field.
So if you work at a place like physics-astronomy.com, right, and like it's your job to write articles for the place, like, do you consider it a perk to be able to constantly write articles about Uranus, or do they give that to the newbie? And they're like, haha, you have to do... Like, is there...
For me, it's a perk.
Absolutely. Is it a prerequisite, though, that, going into it, you have to know that we expect at least one Uranus story every quarter? Like, because it just seems like we don't get these stories sent to us about, Jupiter or big happenings on Mercury.
Never. Yeah.
It's always about Uranus. I wonder why that is. Is it because we're focused on Uranus, or just more stuff is happening with Uranus?
Well, one of the reasons is that Uranus has 27 known moons. Now they must be speaking about
that gets awkward,
Jeffy's. But
that gets awkward. You're walking around town and got 27 moons tagging
orbiting
along.
Uranus.
Like, look out.
Yeah. So Uranus is big because it's
just based
27 moons.
Yeah, sure.
It's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot.
You gotta.
That's really cool that Uranus also has a ring around it.
Yeah. No. Okay. You got to use more of them leaves that we talked about with Jeffy yesterday.
Yep.
That's a lot of banana leaves for that.
The finding supports the theory that Uranus and its unique features are a direct result of the massive impact it suffered from that huge pounding.
The story just goes on and
on and on. The fun never ends. All right, 888-900-3393. More coming up.
Pat Gray Unleashed.
Thanks for being with us. 888-900-3393. Pat Unleashed on Twitter. Miller Lite talking about the boycott that is being called for now. We played the commercial, was it Monday? The other day, anyway, that there was a video that came out in March. It was for, Women's History Month or something. And it was, to me, insulting. But, in fact, let's remind you of it. Here's a little piece of the video. If we could turn up the sound. As she's...
To the Middle Ages, to colonial America, women were the ones doing the brewing.
Oh.
Centuries later, how did the industry pay homage to the founding mothers of beer? They put us in bikinis. Wow.
Okay, that's enough. They say this video was about two things: worm poop and saying women shouldn't be forced to mud wrestle in order to sell beer. Okay, first of all, nobody forced women to mud wrestle. And it was your ad, Miller. Who do you think, the beer drinkers put that ad together for Miller? What are you talking about? If anybody did force women to mud wrestle to sell their product, it was you! Neither of these things should be remotely controversial, they say. And we hope beer drinkers can appreciate the humor and ridiculousness of this video from back in March.
Oh, listen.
Okay.
They had that ready. When that Mulvaney stuff happened, they went, oh, crap. We need a contingency plan if this ever sees the light of day.
Yeah, because everybody now thinks it's another example of a woke company kicking their customers right where they live. Mm-hmm. About 70% of your beer drinkers are men. About 70%. So, do you want to increase women buying your beer? Yeah, of course they do, but you don't have to insult men in order to do it. And that, to me, was super insulting. But the commercial talks about the role that women played in beer brewing. And I love the fact that it claims women were among the first to brew beer. Huh. How many different groups brewed beer? There's only two choices, either women or men. So if they're one among the first, that must mean they weren't the first. So that would lead you to believe men were the first to brew beer. What a stupid ad. But, you know, they're trying to combat the fact that they've been sexist in their marketing for decades. But it kind of makes sense. I mean, men love beer and men love women. So what do? You put the two together. And look, I don't drink beer. I don't drink alcohol. I don't care about Miller Lite or Bud Light. But the fact that they're so insulting to their customer base just pisses me off. I'm just angry on your behalf. And they've got to rewrite history in order to, try to bring in more customers for their product. It's pathetic. All right, 888-900-3393. We got a lawsuit from sorority sisters over being forced to accept a trans person into their sorority.
This is Pat Gray Unleashed.
Got some tweets here. Call it like I see it tweets. The reason you haven't heard this Lennon story before is because this guy just now started trying to sell a book.
All right.
Parts Guy 22. So the man who shot John Lennon, a singer, is still in jail. But the man who shot Ronald Reagan, a sitting president, is free and doing concerts.
Wow.
Yeah, you got it. You got it.
And only what?
That's right.
3 months apart? Mm-hmm. Those shootings?
Yeah, close. It was close together, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Estimated profit tweets. I have information linking the CIA to the assassination of Julius Caesar.
Okay, here we go.
Come forward with that, please.
Yes.
Come forward.
We'll protect you, whistleblower.
And Wes Usery, this is concerning the meteorite that went down in Japan. Mm-hmm. And then when you look to the right, there's one headed the other way.
Something's up.
We all know aliens live in mountains. Mount Shasta in California is our most famous. We just witnessed the changing of the guard. One crew coming in, another headed home. That's what that is. Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense.
I love that.
One crew
that is
coming
awesome.
in, the other headed home.
That's a great take right there.
It is. Hey, by the way, Glenn is going through the incredible connections of the Biden crime family tonight. BlazeTV.com. Get your subscription right now.
Mm-hmm.
And you will see the evidence of the Biden crime family over there.
See a lot of people that belong behind bars tonight.
Oh, man. Yep. And will anything ever be done about it? Nope.
wait, hold on. Spoiler alert.
Sorry for the spoiler there.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll throw that out. Maybe.
All right.
Yeah, that'll add some suspense.
So you're saying there's a chance.
There's a chance. In Wyoming, some sorority sisters have launched a lawsuit. 3 Kappa Kappa Gamma sorority sisters from the University of Wyoming and their attorney said that they're suing their, I guess, national chapter because they were forced to accept a transgender member of their sorority.
Looking at that picture, which one of these is not like the others? Which one of these doesn't
it's impossible
belong?
to tell.
You can't tell?
Can't tell.
Oh, you can't tell?
No, there's no way to tell.
Oh.
No.
Really? I thought it was easy.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Weird.
Okay, well.
So the sorority member in question, Artemis Langford, allegedly would sit on the sofa in a common area watching the sisters walk by for prolonged periods of time. One allegation reportedly stated Langford was seen having, oh golly.
Oh, no. What? No, we're good.
Yeah, something was going on down below
We're
there,
good.
And they could see that through
That's
the
weird.
leggings the person was wearing.
I thought
Yeah.
was a woman.
I know. So what could go on down there?
I don't
You wouldn't be able
understand
to
that at
tell.
all. That's weird.
The National KKG, Kappa Kappa Gamma chapter, said it's aware of the litigation. It'll address these concerns and through the legal process. One of the plaintiff sisters, Hannah, said she and her fellow members were shocked by the alleged events and the inclusion of Langford in the sorority. So they're alleging here that this person isn't even serious about being trans, right? This person, he is just trying to leer at the women.
But nothing like that could ever happen in your
No.
crazy hypothetical examples that you crazy right-wingers come up with.
Right, that never happened. No. I can speak for myself saying I never thought this would happen to me, especially in a sorority and a space for women. We were told it was a unisex space. We joined under the impression that it was a single-sex organization.
Mm-hmm.
Another of the sisters said there have been many uncomfortable moments in the sorority house. That's why we're here today. We're fighting for the importance of women's spaces and what it truly means to be a woman. We were promised from the beginning that we would have a sisterhood, meaning only females, and our national sorority has failed us.
What a bizarro world.
I know. And their concerns don't matter at all, not even taken into consideration. So the needs of the one outweigh the needs and the sensibilities of the many. I don't know. It just doesn't, none of it makes any sense. And the speed with which all of this happened is astounding.
It's almost like we're living out a Marxist plot to take over our nation in every angle of our lives.
Really?
I said almost.
Yeah, okay.
It's almost like that.
All right. But not quite like that. Not exactly like that.
No, not exactly. No. You got me there.
Okay.
It's close.
It's exactly like that.
It's totally like that.
Yeah, it is. It is that. That's what's happening right now.
Help us.
They're also doing this weird thing where our children are not our children anymore.
I've noticed that's been picking up.
Yeah. It's a theme now with the left, is that they're not your children because they need that in order to jam all these things down their throats when they're 4, 5, 6, 7 years old. And the parents are saying, look, I don't want you to show them this material. I don't want the book banned. You can buy it if you want. You're an adult. But don't show it to my kids. Well, they're not your kids. You can't make those decisions. Your parental rights end at the school. That's what we were just told, I don't know, yesterday or the day before. And what White House Press Secretary, KJP, has commented that children belong to all of us. Remember when she said that at the, I don't know, was it a GLAAD ceremony? The Gay Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation. She made those comments with in an interview with Jezebel magazine at the GLAAD Awards. And that was just a few weeks after Joe Biden had said, there's no such thing as someone else's child. Our nation's children are all our children. No, that is not true. That is not the case. So they're really trying hard to take away, just remove parental rights. You shouldn't have any say. Because if they can do that, then they can indoctrinate your children at school in whatever way they choose. And that's what they're doing. And that's what this is all about. And again, that's why you might consider bringing your kids home. Get them out of the public school systems. Because there's an agenda right now. And it's not, of course, it's not in every single school in the country, but it is taking place in the vast majority.
Only
of them.
98% of them.
I bet it is about that. Yeah, it's about that. Meanwhile, Montana has become the first state to ban TikTok.
Here we go.
That's interesting.
It is.
So they've banned TikTok from operating within their borders. The Republican governor, Greg Gianforte, signed the Senate Bill 419 into law yesterday, and the ban goes into effect January 1st. In a press release, the governor said he signed the bill to protect Montanans' person, private, and sensitive data from being gathered by China. Wow, good for you. The Chinese Communist Party using TikTok to spy on Americans violates their privacy and collects their personal, private, and sensitive information, and that is well documented. Today, Montana takes the most decisive action of any state to protect Montanans' private data and sensitive personal information from being harvested by the Chinese Communist Party. Man, that's going to piss off a lot of people. Yeah. Can you imagine?
That's going to be like crack addicts losing their fix.
Yeah, they're not going to be pleased.
So you're on the side of that's a good thing, banning that?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, see, I'm
You're torn?
Yeah, sell me on this because I'm just concerned that I don't want a precedent set where a government is telling a citizen what they can and can't use.
If it wasn't owned by China, the Chinese Communist Party, I'd be there too.
I mean, this was done the right way.
Yes.
This was done through the state legislature. Right. This is the closest.
Not an executive order.
Right, and it wasn't done federally. Good Lord, I would not. See, that's just it. I don't know that I want the federal government touching this. So the state getting involved there.
Right.
I mean, that's the duty of local government to make these kind of laws, not a vast sweeping thing.
But the pushback's going to be intense.
It sure is. It's going to be interesting to see how this goes.
Don't separate teenagers from their TikTok.
Are there any teenagers though in Montana?
There's six. There's 6 of them.
Okay, so you got a handful of individuals affected by this new law.
Yeah,
and there you go. All right, well then, good luck to those 6 kids.
Teenagers would actually give up the right to vote to keep their social media, according to a new survey. This is 13 to 17.
Oh yeah, that's where I get the 13 to 17. Yeah, this is interesting.
64% of 13 to 17-year-olds said they would choose access to social media over ever getting the right to vote. That's how important it is to them. So the TikTok backlash from those 6 teenagers in Montana,
okay, no, hold on.
It's coming. They're going to be pissed.
When I first heard that headline, I thought, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
How could you trade in your sacred right to vote over, in favor of social media? And then I got to thinking, okay, well, the right to vote, I mean, do we think that even counts anymore? Give me social media. I think I'm on board with the 64% because at least there you feel like maybe you're making an impact. Do you feel like you're making an impact with your vote in America 2023? Do you honestly think, and I'm sure it varies state to state, so places, maybe in Texas and Florida, you feel like maybe your vote's a little bit more on lockdown than, say, I don't know, randomly throw out a state. Arizona. Right. Georgia, Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Nevada. Yeah, right. I mean, so give me the social media because honestly, the votes don't even.
Oh, sir, you're in that 64%.
I think I'm in the 64%.
And you're not even a 13 to 17-year-old. So there you go.
But seriously, though, it just if we don't trust our vote,
I know.
What do we have?
Makes it tough. Meanwhile, TSA is testing some facial recognition at more airports, and that's raising some privacy concerns. Look, if you're not doing anything wrong,
here we go.
What are you worried about?
What are you worried about? Methinks you doth protest too much.
Right. You must be doing something wrong.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
A passenger walks up to an airport security checkpoint, slips an ID card into a slot, and looks into a camera atop a small screen. The screen flashes photo complete, and the person walks through, all without having to hand over their identification to the TSA officer.
That's cute. No, thank you.
It's all part of a pilot project by the TSA to assess the use of facial recognition technology at a number of airports across the country. What we're trying to do with this is aid the officers to actually determine that you are who you say you are, according to the Identity Management Capabilities Manager. The Identity Management Capabilities Manager.
I don't know, what was that quote again you just read?
What we're trying to do with this is aid the officers to actually determine that you are who you say you are. So they can't look at your ID and then look at you and see the name on it, see the picture, and say, okay, that's you.
What did we just have a story on? Voting? So it's good enough to know exactly who you are before you decide to get on this airplane, but if it comes down to the voting stuff, how many places are like, oh my gosh, are you crazy?
Well, it's racist.
How intrusive is that?
To ask for somebody to prove who they are at the voting booth? Yeah. That's racist.
Boy, I don't
Can't
like
do that.
This getting us way too comfortable with this invasive technology.
And by the way, speaking of this, how do blacks get on planes? when they don't have ID.
Right.
And they don't know how to get it.
My God.
I guess that's why black people don't travel by air. That must be why. So stupid. The effort comes at a time when the use of various forms of technology to enhance security and streamline procedures is only increasing. TSA says the pilot is voluntary and accurate, but critics have raised concerns about questions of bias to facial recognition technology and possible repercussions for passengers who want to opt out.
Oh, yeah, you can opt out for like the next 5 weeks, and then it's just going to be mandatory. I guarantee you.
That's how that works every single time.
How this works.
Yep. And why is it that every single time I just want to go through the metal detector, they force me to go through the other machine?
I can tell you.
You know, the naked machine.
I can tell you why.
Why?
You're not TSA pre, are you?
No. Are you? Did you do that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you are?
That's why you don't.
I keep threatening to do it,
You don't
but
go
I
through
never
this
do.
nonsense.
Yeah, I hate it.
Yeah, bro.
I hate it.
It is so worth it. And get this. The price came down for TSA pre recently.
Oh, really?
So when I went to renew, it was cheaper.
So you have to, pay every year?
It's not every year. It's either every 3 or 5 years or something.
And where do you have to go to the airport to get this
No,
done,
you
or?
go to like a federal office that's probably a front for something else the government's doing, and then they interview you and they make sure you're not a terrorist. And
Okay.
it's the stupidest thing. All you do is sit down and you're like, I can't even remember. It's been so long because the renewal was just online. This was probably 7-8 years ago, maybe, when I first did this. And you just sit down and you're like, all right, so your name's Keith and you live here. Okay, cool. All right, we're done. Just pay the money.
Oh, man.
There's no
hassle to it?
No, because you have an appointment. You just show up at this office
to do
building
it.
with your appointment and just you're in and out.
Oh, I got it.
And then, like I said, renewal was online recently.
So I got a flight next week. I really got it. Can you get it that fast or no?
Way to plan ahead.
I know.
Wait, what day do you leave?
A week from Friday.
A week from Friday?
Yeah.
Are
I'm
you-
going to the mean streets.
Oh, really?
For the weekend, for Memorial Day weekend.
Just a quick little turnaround?
Just a turnaround, yeah.
All right. You might be able to. I think as soon as
Yeah?
this show's over, we need to go to like TSA.gov and figure
find
this
out how
out
to
for
do that.
you.
Yeah. All right. I want you to picture for a minute what it would be like if all of a sudden the global medication supply chain of antibiotics just disappeared right before our eyes. Oh, that can't happen. Really? I mean, there are medicines that are really hard to get right now. We've got shortages already. Most of our medicine in this country, too, is manufactured in China, also India. And you can bet they're going to take care of their own needs before they take care of ours. And what if they ever get pissed at us or we're at war with China and they just shut everything down? So if you don't want to be, at the mercy of the Chinese, then here's a really good alternative for you. The answer is have a supply on hand in case of disaster. And that's where the Jase case from Jase Medical comes in. The Jase case, J-A-S-E, Jase case from Jase Medical. It's a great way to keep yourself prepared for the worst. It's a pack of 5 different courses of antibiotics that you can use to treat a long list of bacterial illnesses. Things like UTIs, respiratory infections, sinusitis, skin infections, lots more. It's a great way to be ready for shortages, and it's perfect for traveling. So don't get caught unprepared. Go to jasemedical.com. That's J-A-S-E medical.com. Enter the promo code PAT at checkout. That's promo code PAT at checkout at jasemedical.com.
This is Pat Gray Unleashed.
The CDC halts the administration of Johnson & Johnson COVID vaccines in the U.S. And ordered the remaining doses to be destroyed.
Yeah, breaking news this
Wait,
morning.
What? I thought all of these vaccines were safe and effective. What about the efficacy of these things?
Right, yeah, me too.
I'm stunned. I'm confused. I'm flabbergasted. I'm at a loss. According to CDC data, approximately 19 million people in the U.S. received the J&J vaccine since its initial availability. However, more than 31.5 million doses were delivered to states and other jurisdictions, leaving around 12.5 million doses unused. Now, they had previously limited the emergency use authorization of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine to adults who couldn't receive others due to the risk of the rare clotting condition known as thrombosis.
It's rare, Pat. Come on.
You know, any side effect. I can't believe they've even admitted to one, but I guess the thrombosis they'll admit to in rare circumstances.
Throw them a bone.
Only about 7% of vaccinated individuals receive the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, with the majority opting for the mRNA from Pfizer and Moderna. So why are they dumping the Johnson & Johnson vaccine? Is that because they're not invested in the J&J vaccine? We don't have the patent on that like we do the others.
I think the emergency use ran out for that or something. I don't know. Or maybe the lobby for Pfizer and Moderna is so strong.
Right.
They're like, all right, look, we got a tighter market now.
But in Europe, they're having an international COVID summit as societies retrace what happened over the last couple of years. Dr. David Martin was in front of the European Parliament. Here's what he had to say.
This is good stuff.
Does that sound like leak? Does that sound like a bat and a pangolin went into a bar in the Wuhan market and hung out and had sex, and lo and behold, we got SARS-CoV-2? No. Accidental or intentional release of a respiratory pathogen was the terminology used, and 4 times in April of 2019, 7 months before the allegation of patient number 1, 4 patent applications of Moderna were modified to include the term accidental or intentional release of a respiratory pathogen as the justification for making a vaccine for a thing that did not exist. Keep going. If you have not done so, please make sure that you make reference in every investigation to the premeditation nature of this, because it was in September of 2019 that the world was informed that we were going to have an accidental or intentional release of a respiratory pathogen so that by September 2020, there would be a worldwide acceptance of a universal vaccine template. That's their words, right in front of you on the screen. The intent was to get the world to accept a universal vaccine template, and the intent was to use coronavirus to get there. And the last slide. This isn't advancing, so if I could have somebody do it. Let's read this, because we have to read this into the record everywhere I go. Until an infectious disease crisis is very real, present, and at the emergency threshold, it is often largely ignored. To sustain the funding base beyond the crisis, he said, we need to increase the public understanding for the need for medical countermeasures such as a pan-influenza or pan-coronavirus vaccine. A key driver is the media, and the economics will follow the hype. We need to use that hype to our advantage to get to the real issues. Investors will respond if they see profit at the end of the process.
Investors will respond.
Sounds like public health?
Man. Wow.
Sounds like the best of humanity? No, ladies and gentlemen. This was premeditated domestic terrorism stated at the proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences in 2015, published in front of them. This is an act of biological and chemical warfare perpetrated on the human race, and it was admitted to in writing that this was a financial heist and a financial fraud. Investors will follow if they see profit at the end of the process.
Yeah, and that quote, by the way, that damning quote, that was Peter Daszak of EcoHealth Alliance. That's the group that was doing the dangerous experiments. So there you go. That was perfectly laid out by Dr. Martin. It's just when are the tribunals, Pat? When do those?
The 12th.
12th of when?
Never.
12th of never.
12th of never. Yeah.
There are so many guilty people who perpetrated this on the entire planet that need and will not, like you said, be held accountable.
That is really crazy. And he's right. I mean, we've read the report that came out in 2015. We've played their words from their own mouths. I mean, they did predict all this stuff. They did say all those things. So what do you say to that? That's all conspiracy nonsense? Is that what you say? I guess that's the only thing you can say. But if it's a conspiracy, it's been a proven conspiracy. Jeez. Really something else. Holy cow.
Would you say this is a good place for you to say, by all that is good, right, and holy, these people need to be held accountable?
By all that is good, right, and holy, these people need to be held accountable.
All right.
I would say that. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good spot for it.
This is Pat Gray Unleashed.